You know, probably for the first time in a very long time, practice wasn't what I wanted it to be today. You know, something that can't let happen. It's like I told the kids, you know, there's a reason why, you know, there's only one team that stands up there at the end of the year. Everybody can work, you know, or get it right for one Saturday or a couple of Saturdays, but being able to sustain working at the level that you got to work at to create the right habits, we didn't do that today. So we got to come back, watch the tape, figure out why, and get it fixed. So when you look at Kentucky, you know, this team is first of all extremely physical. A lot of big dudes out there, okay, in the line of scrimmage. You know, they're on start with defensively up front. Got physical guys. They create negative plays, draw double teams. Got lots of playmakers in the front seven. They replaced a lot of guys in the back end, and they're playing extremely well. You know, give you a lot of different looks. Mark's always done a fantastic job, and you know, it's one of the best defenses in our league, which would be one of the best defenses in the country. You know, offensively, kind of changed. Obviously, as the season has went, Eddie's done a fantastic job figuring out a way to be productive. I'm sure coming into the season, this wasn't how they planned to be, losing two quarterbacks, but they found a way to win two out of the last three games and played Georgia tooth and nail. They had a couple of calls, probably didn't go their way, that hurt them in that game. But, you know, really playing well. You know, had a chance to beat Florida, probably should early in the year, probably should be 5-3 right now, and that's with losing their quarterbacks. We've got a really good football team. They're good in special teams. They play smart. They play together. They're tough. They're physical. You know, so we got a heck of a challenge. You know, and we got to get our guys to where we play our best game, which we have not done yet. So, any questions?
Just what are the difficulties when you're facing the possibility of having to prepare for two different quarterbacks, assuming Sawyer is healthy enough to maybe go along with Bowden?
Well, you know, we work it in practice. We go against our guys, you know, going against Jawan or Tim or Ty or some of the Eric playing quarterback. You know, we work it. You know, I believe that their quarterback Bowden can throw the football. You know, you watch some of the throws that he's made, pretty good. You know, it's two of the games that he's played quarterback. It's been raining like crazy, so I'm not sure who could have thrown the ball in those games. So it's not like he's a one-dimensional guy that doesn't throw the ball, you know. So, and they've got playmakers on the outside. So, you know, obviously you got to be able to stop the run, but you've got to eliminate explosive plays and kind of make them earn it. We've got to find a way to get some turnovers, and when it gets to third down, we have to get off the field, you know, and make them kick field goals in the in the red area.
David, Wes, Austin.
Jeremy, what are the things you saw at practice today that left you displeased?
Well, just energy, you know. It's and everybody has it, right? We're here in November. You know, it's a grind. There's certain times. We're at that point. This is the sixth game since we've had an off week, right? So you can, as a coach, you circle that game, you know, in the preseason and say, hey, this is a game. We better find a way to be at our best. You know, when you do things for this long or a long period, and you know, we're banged up, we're sore, like every other team in the country, right? So we got to show some maturity and be able to push through. To get the work that we need to get done, so we'll be prepared to play at our best on Saturday.
Jimmy, you've been coaching for long enough, I'm sure, to go through seasons where, you know, the team you're coaching has one quarterback pretty much go the distance, and other seasons where guys have gotten hurt or for performance issues you've had to make changes here or there. How difficult, you know, can it be to kind of keep the rhythm or the flow of an offense? Because it just seems like if the quarterback moves around sometimes, and it just makes it difficult to do that.
No, I think what messes up the rhythm of the offense is when you you don't block the people up front, you don't hit open receivers, or you don't catch the ball, you turn it over. I mean, I think that's more to that. I don't think who plays the position has anything to do with the rhythm. I think the production at the position has a lot to do with with the rhythm. I get your point. I've seen some teams that play 2 or 3 quarterbacks and it looks like they're all the same. They just roll right in there, right? So there's lots of things that go into it, but the way we practice with our guys taking multiple reps with each group, there shouldn't be an issue there.
Austin and Vince.
Coach, Saturday night you talked about the fact that, the cold weather and the slick ball, you didn't go with Jarret right away. With it supposed to be cold Saturday, is there anything you all can do to kind of prevent that? And, as he gets further away from surgery, will the cast and splint be a little smaller and smaller?
I don't know about the splint in itself. I don't think that was an issue Saturday. It was a little warmer last week, so the first time it got cool was after that front come through. So seeing how he did in warm-ups, was something that we wanted to see how he handled it a little bit. After playing in that game, we should have a much better idea of what we'll get.
With Darrell Taylor being your most established pass rusher, as he's played better this year, have you seen teams scheming towards him, doubling up, doing anything specific? And how's your team handled that if that's the case?
I've really been focused on our guys. There's each week we've been trying to find ways to generate pass rush. Do we need to bring more than they've got to block? Do we need to drop 8? Do we need to rush 4? Do we need to bring 5 or 6, change the coverage? So we're always trying to figure out ways to affect the quarterback. I feel like we've done that a lot this year on a regular basis. There's been a couple of games that we have not. And that was more earlier in the year. But, every week we're looking to do that. Darrell's a guy that has ability. We got other guys that have ability. So that's something that we're looking for each week. And a lot of that has to do with how you disguise in the back end. You can bring all the pressure you want, but if they know you're bringing it, they're just going to get rid of it, right? So we've got to do a good job back there.
Jesse, then Blake and Ross.
2 things, Jeremy. First, I think you had mentioned on your coach's show on Sunday that with Jarrett's hand, he wasn't able to clap as you guys normally do at the snap, and you guys had to actually have him audibly do it. How will that be impacted this weekend going at Kentucky, obviously playing on the road?
Well, we have a plan.
Okay. As a follow-up then, just offensive line injuries. It looked like Wanye was limited today. Darnell, where's kind of his health and status at going into this weekend?
Well, we got several guys that are banged up. Unfortunately, against South Carolina, we had several guys go down. And we kind of limped, to the finish line in that game with the offensive line. Not a lot of numbers there because they were all at the same position. Some of the guys couldn't play last week versus UAB, but they're much better this week. Where they're at, are they 100%? Probably not, but they're most of them are close enough to be ready to play. It's important to our team to play well Saturday, and I think a lot of these guys are working hard to get healthy so they can be at their best.
Blake and then Gustavo.
Jeremy, with how good Kentucky is running the ball and the things that Bowden does, is this a game where you might consider more using a true 4-3 or 3-4 and swapping out, that 5th defensive back, the star position?
You're saying play only 4 defensive backs as opposed to 5? No, it's a thought. Most of the time we match up based off their personnel. Kentucky does it some. You can have your 3rd wide receiver on the field, and sometimes they play regular. I've did it at other places, trying to get our best players on the field. That's more so what I'm looking at is how's our game plan fit, and how do we get our best players on the field. It's always an option, sure.
Gustavo.
Coach, it's the first time this season you have 2 consecutive road games with a bye between. And last season, when you had that sequence, one of the games was the win over Auburn, the ranked team. What lessons can you bring from last season, that sequence of road games compared to this season?
Well, if you look at our team, there's some guys that were on the team last year. We have lots of guys that are playing and playing important roles that wasn't on the team last year. I think it's better for us to probably learn from our experiences this year, which would be at Florida and at Alabama. So I think that would probably be something that we as a staff or as a team would draw upon more so than last year.
We have time for a couple more. David?
Jeremy, what is sort of Balin Buchanan's future? Is 2019 sort of done? 2020 a possibility? Is he done sort of forever? We've seen him out there, but what's his future look like?
No, he went to see the doctor. I think it was today, or it might be tomorrow. I'm sorry. It's either today or tomorrow. Probably was tomorrow now that I think about it. He was out there at practice. So he'll see tomorrow, and if he gets what the docs are looking for, he might be able to play by next week, or the week after. If he don't, they might say, hey, let's let him practice for a while first and see where he's at. I don't know. Whatever they say, we'll do. But he's working hard to get back to play, and based off the information that I've been told, there's a good possibility that'll happen.
Patrick?
Jeremy, you talked about this being 6 games in as many weeks and having a lot of guys banged up. How do you kind of keep your team fresh physically at this stage of the season when you got a lot of guys banged up? You have to change how you practice. How do you kind of go about making sure that your team is the freshest they could be for the game?
Well, we have adopted kind of a practice policy for this fall that's a little unusual and a little different than any that I've been around. And it's really based off Trey Smith, trying to give him an opportunity to take more reps. And then based off, if you play at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night and you don't get in till 6, on a Sunday morning, just based off rest, and when you play the following Saturday has a lot to do with it. I've kind of changed a little bit this fall and tried to take some of that into account to help our guys be fresh. We're short of numbers. We're probably operating at about 63 or 64 scholarship guys that are eligible to play, based off injuries. And so we're thin at certain positions, so we've got to be smart. We've got to be able to get them to the game, but at the same time, you got to have focus. You got to have mental energy. You got to practice with the right intensity to be prepared, to play on Saturdays. So it's a little fine line there that we've kind of juggled around all year.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks, Don.